as close to my list as you can get. Now, believe it or not, you're probably saying, well, what about Baker Mayfield? Well, after a second good year in Tampa, he's closer to 10 than 15. I probably go C.J. Stroud at 10 because his size and accuracy, but he didn't have a great year. A lot of that was his receivers all got hurt. His left tackle didn't play well, but none of this bothers me.
Yeah, I think it's actually really cool and a really cool full circle moment with Baker Mayfield and the fact that the same execs, coaches, and I guess not scouts, but the same execs and coaches really didn't want Baker Mayfield, right? They did not want him. He was truly hanging on by a thread within the NFL, and was pretty much going to be either just a backup quarterback or kind of like, nah, we don't really need to deal with whatever he has to offer. And now he's voted top 10 quarterbacks. A top 10 quarterback. That's pretty impressive. When you look at the list, Patrick Mahomes, obviously we know Mahomes, Allen, Burrow, Lamar, right? Jane Daniels played unbelievable. Matthew Stafford, Super Bowl winner. Justin Herbert, greatest start to a career in NFL history. Jared Goff, ton of success. Jalen Hurts, Super Bowl MVP, and Baker Mayfield. I think the conversation for me with regards to Baker isn't even like where he should be because Colin said maybe 10 to 15, but closer to 10 than later, and how he mentioned CJ Stroud. To me, that's not even the right conversation surrounding Baker Mayfield. I just think it's so cool when someone really kind of has, I love redemption arcs, and someone like me, I was very critical of Baker Mayfield and his leadership style and his attitude and kind of what he brought to a franchise is not what I like personally. I didn't like to play with that. I didn't like to be around that. It's just not what I identify with. It's not what I feel that brings out my best. And it was something that I was, always critical of. But to see him get settled in Tampa Bay and really be a huge part of that culture, of that team, I think is really cool. I think it's really cool. And, I think there was a lot of truth there, what he said with regards to how things need to change a little bit after Tom Brady left. And I remember when that got released and Tom Brady was like, yeah, well, we're not here to go to Disneyland or something like that. And I defended Baker in there, that there's just different ways to kind of reach the goal here. But I do think that he fits Tampa Bay so perfectly, and what they've been able to accomplish and the resilience that they've showed. It really is fascinating. I'd been meaning to make this video a long time for, last couple of months or so, but on NFL on NBC or NBC on NFL, whatever the heck it is, they had it, it was with Sims and stuff, and they said what quarterback, what quarterback winning a Super Bowl would be the biggest for their legacy. And if Baker Mayfield won a Super Bowl, it would absolutely just rewrite everything. It would be here is a great quarterback, a top quarterback who just got originally drafted to a bad team, who got banged up and then got sent to another bad team, got a lifeline from Los Angeles and Sean McVay because Stafford goes down. And then Tampa Bay was kind of yeah, we'll take you. We need someone. And then he played himself into a, obviously not a huge contract relative to what some of these other guys get paid, but relatively speaking, a legitimate, right? It's not like it was just 2 years, $20 million or something. It was a real, 30, 33, 34, whatever, $1 million a year. It's pretty good, and is now seen as a top 10 quarterback. Think about how much money Mahomes is getting. Josh Allen, Burrow, Jackson. We know Jane Daniels rookie deal, but he would be making bank. Stafford making great money. Stafford would be making even more money if he wasn't older and obviously wasn't about to kind of fall off his own cliff. Herbert making bank. Goff making bank. Hurts making awesome money. Baker Mayfield's getting, he's getting nothing relative to that. So it's pretty wild, honestly. And in a weird way, I don't want to say that it would take away from Tom Brady's Super Bowl, but that Super Bowl was really about Tom Brady, right? Tom Brady left New England, won first year with Tampa, brought in Gronk and AB and whatnot, and that really felt more like Tom Brady winning his final Super Bowl and that celebration, and it was the greatness of Tom Brady and not the greatness of the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. I think that's a fair statement to make. When everyone talks about that Super Bowl or talk about it, it's like it's Tom Brady, Tom Brady, Tom Brady, Tom Brady. Even though the Tampa Bay Buccaneers stepped up and played great as a whole, it's just different. It's Tom Brady, right? Like it doesn't get much bigger than that. And Baker Mayfield winning a Super Bowl, I feel as though has the opportunity to make it about Tampa Bay, about the team, about the franchise, about the culture, about the town, right? It's that's what it's about. It's about Tampa Bay. And don't get me wrong, Baker Mayfield is a massively popular figure, but it just feels like it would be more integrated into the team rather than it just being about like the literal GOAT winning. I just think it hits differently, right? LeBron James winning his ring with Los Angeles. Granted, it was always a little bit kind of weird because of the bubble type thing, but it was still about LeBron James winning, not the Los Angeles Lakers. People see the Kobe Bryant championships a lot bigger of a deal, and with Shaq a lot bigger of a deal than with LeBron. It was just that's like LeBron James's ring. It just is. And in a weird way, Luka has the ability to like feel like he's, restoring the Lakers back to kind of like basketball royalty in a way that LeBron James necessarily didn't, because LeBron James is his own massive billion-dollar brand, just like Tom Brady. And as popular as Baker Mayfield is, just hits a little differently. And so I think that would be a fascinating story. And I know a lot of people believe in the Tampa Bay Buccaneers and what they can do. But I do think it's pretty cool to see this list, to see this all go full circle, and to have this many execs and coaches vote for Baker Mayfield top 10. Like that's essentially them admitting that they were wrong. And these guys in those positions of power, it's not easy to admit that you were wrong. That you were wrong. So the fact that they were actually doing that, I think is pretty cool. And I think if you're going to put someone ahead of Baker Mayfield, and let's not worry about this order of the list. Like I just don't care right now. But if we were talking about the CJ Strouds, the Jordan Loves, I guess we can even go deeper than that. Caleb Williams, Bo Nix. I'm trying to think of anyone else off the top of my head. Like, you'd really be thinking about the future. You'd really be saying, I think CJ Stroud over the next 3 years, 4 years. Bo Nix. Like, you would only put them ahead of Baker Mayfield if you're really if you're thinking about like the future of what you're hoping to build and accomplish. Whereas Baker Mayfield at this point is a little bit more established. And so that's why these top 10 quarterback lists and stuff like that, I always ask, like, well, like, what is the criteria? What are we saying? Are we saying these are the top 10 quarterbacks today? Or are these the top 10 quarterbacks tomorrow, over the next couple of years? Like, what are we envisioning here? We're starting a new team and we got a quarterback draft. And when you get to the 10th pick and the 1 through 9 was already picked, are you picking CJ Stroud? Are you picking Baker Mayfield? Like, how is this unfolding here? And so it's just, like I said, it was fascinating to see Baker Mayfield here. It's just so funny how quickly things come and go, right? 1 minute you do have Jordan Love and CJ Stroud probably being 5 and 6 up there. Right? I mean, like, I think that would probably be pretty fair. And now they're not there. And then you got Baker Mayfield. Jalen Hurts makes sense. Just won the Super Bowl. It's you see that. Jared Goff, Justin Herbert, and Stafford would need a little bit more of an explanation. I believe in those quarterbacks. I think they're top quarterbacks. But like, you would still have to you'd have to give a little bit more qualifiers there a little bit. I feel as though. But yeah, man. Yeah, life happens fast in the NFL. That's for sure. 1 minute you're almost out of the league. The next minute you're a top 10 quarterback. 1 minute the execs and the coaches don't want anything to do with you. The next minute they're like, I'd love to have this kid. He's a great quarterback. He's a top 10 quarterback. So pretty wild. So definitely nice to hear. But those are just my thoughts. I'd absolutely love to hear yours. What do you guys all think about Baker Mayfield being a top 10 quarterback in the NFL, and kind of just the full circle moment for Baker, and kind of how far he's come along throughout his career. Let me know in the comments below. I read every single comment, so whether you agree with me or disagree with me, either way, let's get in some discussions, let's get in some fights, but ultimately, let's just have some fun. And please do consider subscribing. We are building an amazing community here, and I absolutely love to see you part of it. I want to build something that we all genuinely feel connected to, something that we're really excited to be part of. I think we're all on our way to doing it. And please don't forget to give this video a thumbs up, as it really does help visibility and the algorithm. Thank you so much, and see you next time.